presented by the AEP.
Welcome back, All Elite family, to another exciting edition of Too Sweet Elite with your boy Big Match AJ and All Elite Andy. We are back after experiencing quite a few technical difficulties. First, AJ's computer didn't want to start, then my new computer didn't want to get us streaming, but we have overcome all odds and we are back. AJ, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm a little miffed about the computer. Actually, it might be booted now, but we'll never
See,
know.
all the
'Cause
time,
I can't see it from
all
here.
the time it took for you to wait for me to fix things, you probably could have switched over to your other
Yeah.
computer. But alas, like I said, we are here. Things are set up. We've got the pod running, so we're gonna get things going. And you know, there's some interesting AEW news to discuss. I think the first biggest thing, we've speculated on this for a couple of weeks, but touring is back. They are hitting the road and they are going south. They're doing a couple of shows in Texas, and I don't know where the other show was, but yeah, they are back on the road for sure.
Well, Florida, right? It was Miami. Did you say that?
Okay, yeah, I didn't remember, but you're right. We got two
I
in
wasn't
Texas,
sure if you
one
said
in
it.
one in Miami. So, yeah, that's cool.
I'm probably gonna go to the Miami show because it's around my birthday, and Miami's a lot closer than Jacksonville, so that's kind of something in my plans. Though if it's in the same ass arena as it was last time, I might just go to Jacksonville and say fuck that.
I've been telling you to go to Jacksonville this whole time, so you should do both. I mean, and I think the interesting thing that came out about one of the shows they've announced too is it's not being touted as a dynamite, and this isn't one of the three that they've announced, but it's another show they've announced. They rescheduled, I think it's like a Tennessee show or something for like late November, and that's going to be a Friday show. They're talking about how the other shows were announced as AEW Dynamite. This is being announced as the AEW TNT TV taping is what it was said. So people are thinking we're going to definitely be seeing that second show by November. That would make a lot of sense. That would be very promising, very, very cool. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be the third hour or if they're just wording it weird because like this is like maybe not even AEW word. I don't know. Where did this come from, by the way? Because I saw you posted it, but I didn't see who posted it.
I think it might have been like from their official press release updating fans who had bought tickets like, hey, this show is now turning into a Friday night show that is a AEW TNT TV taping. And I was kind of with
maybe,
you,
yeah.
but listed right underneath it is a Wednesday show, and they call it AEW Dynamite taping.
Yeah, okay.
So
There
that alone is what made me say, okay, this is probably right. That's really cool. This is a cool way for us as fans to get to speculate a little bit ahead of time without an official announcement. And it seems like a sure thing, especially with them returning to touring. I'm still excited to see what it could become. But
that's November, right?
Yeah. What if they just add
right.
like a second show? What if they just do, like, it would be way too quick to go into 2 television shows per week and on top of the 2 episodes of Dark they have on YouTube?
On top of the episodes of Dark, yeah. Well, if they expect you to follow all this shit, then yes. But like, if the TV shows are kind of their own entity, then no, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's tough for me because I'm not too certain. Like, I feel like the roster is super deep. They've got plenty of guys to feature, but I don't know if they have enough upper card guys to really facilitate 2 primary shows on television, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe they just do 2 shows, but with a unified, the champion can, like, jump on both shows or anything. We'll have to see. I mean, we could speculate a million different things for that TV show, too. So, but it's interesting that it's being talked about as a TV taping for that show in Tennessee because that tells me that it's probably just going to be another somewhat traditional wrestling show. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, like, they it all day, but it could be a special event. I don't know. Like I don't know if they'll classify it as something different.
It could be. It could be the thing ahead of a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're on. Maybe that's where they plan on touring pay-per-view, and that's like the Dynamite ahead of the pay-per-view, like we're going to see ahead of this pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they just make that tradition where fans always tune in on Friday night to a Dynamite or something. So again, just lots of speculation, but it looks like that second show, that third hour of wrestling is coming soon. So that's cool. Something I thought was funny, Dave Meltzer's reporting that WWE officials claim blood and guts set wrestling back 30 years. I don't know who is reporting this. This is just the dumbest shit. Like, even if someone in WWE
I didn't hear
really
it from
said
Meltzer
it.
first, but I've heard it like on Twitter, and then I heard it on The Observer, and I was like, wow, really? They really, there are people there who think that?
And who said it? Who said it to who? You know what I mean? Like it just.
Yeah.
Did they even actually watch it? Did they even like? There's just so much. I don't
I'm sure they
understand
didn't.
what part of that was so bad, unless they're literally talking about like the camera angle and the fakeness, maybe. But I that's stupid. Like all of it is stupid. It's stupid to speculate. It's stupid that became a news story because. Like, and even if it was, like, Vince and Stephanie and all these people in some little office talking about it, like, who cares on that end? And it's just, like, such a stupid thing to say, especially when they've done War Games matches that have had crazy moments. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get this.
The thing I don't get is, like, wait, this is the one that's not the bomb that didn't go off in the barbed wire match?
Yeah, not the,
This
or
one?
the countless other stupid shit that WWE themselves have done. And for 30 years, like it's just all of it in and of itself is like okay, whatever you say, man. Like that to me was very dumb. I just it's a weird. I get why it's reported, right? Because people will click that, people will share that, we're talking about it, right? That's the idea. But it is just such a dumb thing to report. It means nothing without names behind it, and even with names behind it, it means nothing if you don't like. Unless Vince is on a conference call and is like, and someone asks him about that match, and he's like, "Yeah, that set the business back 30 years." It's like. What is this? You know what I mean? Like this could be just some made up bullshit for all we know because of how it's reported on. Like it could have been anyone within the hierarchy. It could have just been some producer. Like I don't know. And the other report was that, but talent loved it because it showed an opportunity to try different stuff. And I'm like, well, they also got that opportunity in NXT. Like this isn't AEW's not like breaking ground here with this match. I don't understand it.
Well, I guess they're talking about the bloodiness of it.
There've been bloody matches like
I know.
that, though.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but I think that's what it is.
And I guess I get that match was bloody. I didn't think it was overly bloody at all when watching it. Like, I never felt like other matches I've seen that are overly bloody. Like, and they have much
I thought there
worse.
was a lot of blood, but it made sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, it made sense. It's not like, and there just wasn't like tacks and barbed wire, like all these things you see in other matches and stuff that you could attribute to that idea. I really didn't understand it, but weird thing, I guess.
And if it is about the bloodiness, then like, why is Dustin Rhodes versus Cody heralded as like this god match?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that match probably set wrestling back 15 years. So AEW has wrestling set back about 45 years, which makes sense with the big title belt, right? That's what they all wanted was to be back in the 80s and the 70s. So I don't get the critique of it all. I loved the match. I get the critique of the ending, but otherwise, like too much blood and stuff beats me, man. I don't know. I'm sure maybe there's casual fans who tune into that and were like, oh my god, but you watch wrestling, I think you know what you're getting yourself into. So
exactly. It's also in a match called Blood and Guts.
Right? I mean, gee, who would have thought? But yeah, they had a Road to for this week, right? Is that what this is about? I didn't see it, but you put it in our group chat.
Yeah, they did. They did have a Road to. It was.
It's fitting.
Shoot. Like it was mostly about Nagata and Moxley, and then with SCU and the Young Bucks, because those are the big title matches.
Well, yeah, and like that night is full of big matches, right? So I actually appreciate the idea for them to do a Road to. It wasn't one that I had thought of. I've been so busy that I really haven't gotten a chance to check out any of the AEW content yet.
Last night, it was weird.
Okay, yeah, and it might just be like something that they had utilized in New Japan for some of their stuff, but. And talking about New Japan and this Mox and Nagata match, Moxley teamed up with Chris Dickinson to defeat Nagata and Narita in New Japan Strong.
Yep.
That's cool. I think that's cool that Dirty Daddy was working with Moxley. That's pretty sweet. Doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people and probably won't, but I think it's a cool little rub.
I think, well, aside from that, this was an important match because it gave me a glimpse. Did you catch it?
I did not.
It gave me a glimpse into how Nagata, because it started with Nagata and Mox in the ring, and they wrestled a few times in that match, and it's like, to me, it was abundantly clear. It's like, Zivo's wrong. They're not putting the belt on this guy at this stage in his career, and having him defeat Jon Moxley, one of the biggest stars, not in America, but in wrestling. Let's be honest. Like, he was a big WWE name. Like, that's global. And so, like, they're going to save Jon Moxley losing for someone bigger than Nagata, because Nagata...
this is just, like, breaking the door down and like, pun intended, I guess. But this is like all that is. It's showcasing to AEW fans a New Japan superstar, sort of getting an idea for it, and at the same time, like I guess if it tanks in ratings, like they know not to do it again. But I don't foresee that to be a thing. Like, but maybe that's all they're testing too. Is like, how does this transition with ratings? You don't want to do it with some huge New Japan star. I get the theory on that type of stuff too. So yeah, I think you're right though. This isn't a match that Moxley loses. So yeah, but they're doing a good job at hyping that up with Road 2 and everything. And then the last bit of news that we should briefly talk about is they did another Nightmare Factory show. I think that's a really cool thing, if for nothing else. Like the talent who are signing up for the Nightmare Factory, like what an awesome thing to get a part of that, right? It seems like the tuition to do the Nightmare Factory is probably pretty similar to other wrestling schools, yet you're getting this massive opportunity to be viewed by 20,000 fans on YouTube, at least I would imagine.
144,000 as of right now.
Yeah, so I mean that's a great opportunity. I'm sure some of these talent are definitely. If I was a young fan, if I was younger, had the opportunity to catch these shows, I would be catching them, and I would be becoming fans of a couple of these talent because that's what I like to do. You know what I mean? That's probably the primary reason I do stuff like shining a light on AEW Dark, because I like to catch talent before they necessarily blow up. And I think I would be doing that with these shows. And if I get a chance, I'll probably check one or two out just to shine a light on one or two of them.
FCW, man, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Before NXT really got to be the product that it became, yeah, you're right with that. So I think that's a cool way to put it. And that these opportunities, it's not necessarily a weekly thing. It seems like they do it at once every couple of months or something. And
yeah, this was May 2nd, so we're late to the game on talking about this.
Yeah.
But I did think it was worth talking about.
No, we should at least highlight it and talk about it. And it's cool that they did it, and they don't do it very often because that keeps it important, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. If they did it weekly, it might not feel as important. But when they do it every couple months, it's like, okay, let's keep an eye on some of these people. And if you recall that we saw one talent kind of transition from one of these, get an opportunity on Dark, and she ended up getting injured. So I think we'll see her again down the line, and maybe we'll see someone else get an opportunity. Heck, for all I know, there might be one of those talents showing up on Dark tonight, because that's how they like to do stuff shortly after or within the last couple weeks. I feel like I might have saw something for last week's Dark where there was a name from that show, but I don't want to say for sure. Like I said, it's been busy.
Yeah, no, I like the Nightmare Factory showcases. I think it's interesting. I like that Cody starts it by saying, listen, this is some of these people's first matches, first time on camera. So, like, you know, don't go into it like you're watching a normal wrestling show. These are students. And I like that aspect to it. And it's fun. Like, they cut promos, they do matches. It's kind of like watching your local indie, which I'll be going to on Saturday.
All right.
But, it's like kind of a little step down from that, but like they're in good shape. Like, because, you know, the people who come to the Nightmare Factory and make it onto these showcases are usually people who like are in good shape or have a great character or something along those lines.
I'm glad that you bring that up too, because that's a great point. Like, we shouldn't look at it like superstars who are about to break through in the industry. There might be a couple of them, but it's also talent just getting that first opportunity on a big stage. So great point there. Let's go ahead and talk about this week's Dynamite, because they got a stacked card, and we'll open it up with the simplest thing that we're going to see. We're going to see Tony Schiavone interview Jade Cargill. Who knows, right? I mean, maybe this is where she finally gets a manager.
I hope.
My speculation of it being Teddy Long a couple weeks ago apparently made WWE bring Teddy Long back to SmackDown last week, so...
Darn.
Yep, missed that boat. So, but no, I'm curious to see who is going to be the one managing her. But I have no speculation on it. Like, I really don't know.
I don't either. I don't know where they want her to go. I don't know what they want to do with her. I don't know where she's headed.
I would love for this to be a moment kind of like where we've gotten with Alex and Pentagon, where it's someone you didn't expect at all, but given that opportunity, like, could be really, really great. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head, but I know AEW has quite a few people who do like interview type stuff where, again, maybe they could fit into that role like Alex did, or maybe there's a couple of managers on the indie scene we're just not familiar with that could be brought into a role. I would just love to see a fresh face, not necessarily a legend taking on the managerial role, but a new manager who can come in and we can sort of see something interesting with her. Just I can't really think of any managers on the indie scene right now, but I'm just a man.
The only one is like, what is his name, Larry Legend or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, but like I said,
something.
maybe there's some hidden gems out there. But
And he's an ROH, so that doesn't. But like you're right. Like I would love like a Larry Sweeney ass young
dude, yeah,
manager.
could you imagine like Larry Sweeney doing the mic work for Jade Cargill, just this impressive specimen, and like I can, but I can't. Like but I think he's someone or anyone like that could just make talent that we don't know, that we aren't familiar with, into stars, and it wouldn't have to necessarily be some legend speaking for them. So yeah, I wish, man. But yeah, so I'm interested to see where that goes. I would love to see a manager introduced for her, and I would love for it to be a fresh face. And then the rest of the card is just freaking stacked. So I don't even know where to begin. Might as well just start with the World Championship Eliminator. We got Orange Cassidy taking on Pac. Orange is apparently ranked number 1. Pac ranked number 2. Just poor Hangman Page, but we won't even dwell on that this time.
Yeah.
Who you got in this one? You Orange Cassidy, right? Like that's my pick.
It's gonna be Orange Cassidy. I want it to be Pac.
Yeah, well, and that's where I'm going to say I got to disagree with Zevo from our last episode and saying that he's not too keen on that match because I don't know who has the upper hand in those 2 matches. I think they've had 2 matches, right? Pac and Kenny.
Yeah, or maybe 3, actually.
Yeah, maybe 3, and it might be a wash, but I know they're pretty close. But that would be a more believable match to me. Like Pac's been built up. I could in theory see him becoming like a transitional champion that Kenny loses to and then maybe gets his belt right back. It wouldn't necessarily be a booking I would want to see or that I would make myself, but it's something I could see. Orange Cassidy, on the other hand, I see it being a fun, really entertaining match. Doesn't sell me on that main event feel, so I mean I would be bigger on it if maybe that meant we're going to get like a women's main event on the pay-per-view. I wouldn't be mad at it because that match would feel bigger to me. Like I even though Orange Cassidy's a star, Kenny's a star, like they're both great top guys, because I feel like I know who's going to win. Like I would rather see Britt versus Hikaru main event that show.
I don't know if it's just me and my biases, but I really do feel like people would like not even want Orange Cassidy to win that match.
They wouldn't, you mean?
To win the title match.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want him to. He's been fun, but in general,
like, the vast majority, I don't think, like, as much as they love Orange Cassidy, I don't know that they love him as the face of the company holding the belt.
Yeah, especially not right now. What would probably be a better story is you have him lose this in some way, right? Like you have Kenny potentially even cost him this match and set that up for 6 months down the line, where you've sort of laid the seeds for it now, but we still get Pac versus Kenny or something like that, or maybe a triple threat, or maybe just someone interrupts this and is like, why wasn't I involved in this? I wouldn't be mad at that either, based on what we have on the rest of the card. So
yeah,
I do expect like a clean finish, probably with OC winning, but I would much prefer it to be a different way, because kind of like what you said, I don't necessarily know that the majority of people want to see him as the world champion right now. Maybe TNT champion at some point, but I don't think world champion is really what people are feeling for him. That's a long game type story you got to build with someone. I don't think you bring Rey Mysterio in 6 months, and because he has that hype behind him, you give him the world title. I don't know that his career necessarily pans out the same way. So I don't think it would hurt Orange. Obviously, don't think he's going to win the match either way. But yeah, to me, that's just not a great pay-per-view main event. That's my biggest issue with that. And again, if that means we put the women at the top of that card, I am all for it, man. I think that those two women would deserve that placement. I would love the booking of this match if that's their theory. It's like, okay, we put Orange and Kenny on like 2 matches or right before even, and that puts the pressure on the women where they got to deliver, but. And it would be tough, but I think they would. I think those 2 women could deliver right after Orange Cassidy versus Kenny, because I think it's so 2 different matches, 2 different stories. I think there's a lot you could do with it. So, hope so. But already on this week's Dynamite, we got the Young Bucks defending against SCU. If SCU lose this match, they will disband as a team. The Bucks have been champs long enough. We could see a title change here. I don't want to see it though. I'd rather see SCU split. So I'm going Bucks.
Young and the one they're shooting them.
Dang, that's brutal but true. There will be no real
guns.
gunshots, but yeah, singles guys. I think a singles run for Kaz could be interesting. Both these guys a little bit older in their careers, but if they're gonna get another singles run, now is the time to do it. Last year or so, I think that's what we're gonna get. They've had a great run as a tag team, like a really long, great run. Honestly, like for a team that's really helped uphold independent tag team wrestling, you have to give SCU that credit, because that time, like. Yes, the Young Bucks were there, SCU was there. There were a couple other teams in that independent mix, but SCU has really held strong in that for Ring of Honor and other companies. So you got to give them credit for the longevity of that team. I remember when they came together, I didn't think that they would last as long, like an Impact. So still ready to see them break up. There is
something I kind of want to see, but I also kind of don't because I think it might be stupid. But I can't tell if it's stupid. You tell me if it's stupid.
I will.
I want to see either preferably Daniels turn heel in this match and leave Kazarian to get super kicked and die, and then go into a feud with him.
Okay, would he?
Because like we're talking one last singles run, right? Like who better?
That would probably be the best story coming out of this angle. I would say is those two feuding in some type of way, and that's kind of where I looked at this storyline of I didn't love the build up to this match, but I love where they could go outside of this match, right? Where maybe it's not even costing them the match, but they lose and Daniels just snaps because he's like, we were supposed to do something, you know what I mean? And then we get a storyline between two really bona fide top talent who could perform well, who could give us a great story that would potentially probably be one of the ones you see end on Dynamite, right? But would still be really, really great. So I think I would kind of like to see that, especially if Daniels is the one to turn heel in that situation. For some reason, that just feels natural to me.
It does, right? Because he's always been a heel. Like you remember him as a heel as a kid.
Yeah, so I think that would be a good way to sort of blow off this storyline and go into the next phase of whatever's coming for these guys. So I don't know for sure that we'll see it though, but I would like for that to kind of be the story. Then let's talk about the TNT title match. We got Darby. He's injured, defending against Miro. I'm excited for this one 100%. I really hope this is Miro's win. This is where they could swerve me easy by having Darby still overcome. I wouldn't be mad at Darby overcoming it, but I think for Miro to look strong, this has really got to be either a victory or some type of DQ loss where he just goes too far.
I completely agree. You took the words out of my mouth. I don't know what to add to that because one thing I want to add to it is I just want to see Miro dominate. Like if this was a squash, it wouldn't even make me mad because just make Miro look strong.
Darby's going into it injured, like we already know. Show the replay ahead of the match. Have him stumble his way out there and just get fucking wrecked for 5, 6, 7 minutes. Miro wins the title. Boom. Like that would be great. It establishes Miro as such a dominant champion. Darby's an okay person for that to happen to. I know, guys, I ask for this all the time when it's a big guy versus a little guy, but this is the one. This is the one to do it on. And that's why I'm so pumped for this match, I think, is because it's going to be that level of intensity. It should be really, really great. It's one I could see myself disappointed in if they don't do that, but with these two guys, I don't see how that's possible. I think that's more of the WWE PTSD.
Yeah, I feel like in realistic terms, Miro out-wrestles him. He's a better athlete than him. He's built better. He's bigger. He's stronger. Like, in all sense of everything. Like, I know Darby's beat, like, Brian Cage and shit, whatever. But, like, if you want to make Miro look like this athletic monster, like a Brock fucking Lesnar type, then you need to have him dominate here.
Well, yeah, and at this point, right, Darby's been beat down. He's been through so many different competitors. Like, there's no reason not to, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, there's no, like, the story, it makes sense for him to not be champion anymore. He's almost a better story as not a champion. So, yeah, I do expect that.
And I would rather the story be that Darby's chasing the title back from Miro.
Well, and maybe the story becomes Darby gets put on the shelf and we get Archer versus Miro. Like,
but I mean, down the line, like, I want Darby to beat him, but not now.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a better situation there. I think Miro is just, we've had a lengthy time waiting for him to kind of get what he's been talking about. This is the time to do it. I will be very pleased with the show if they do that. It's really not hard. I think they could do whatever they want throughout the rest of the show. If you put the belt on Miro, I'm excited. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
As we know, this match will go on last.
It freaking better, right? I mean, that's the rules. Them's the rules. So
that's the rule.
And I mean, if that's the case, I would probably start the show off with Moxley versus Nagata. I mean, that's going to be an interesting match in and of itself.
Tag match, personally. I think that's going to be. I think that match is going to blow everything else out of the water.
You're right. That match will be great, and there's a great story to it. But I just wanted a good transition to Mox and Nagata. But you're right. Let's talk about this Mox and Nagata match though, a little bit. We got Moxley defending the IWGP US Championship for the first time in an AEW ring. That in and of itself is exciting.
Super cool.
Like, I do agree that there's a chance Moxley loses, but not due to like getting out wrestled, but maybe outside interference. You could tell some stories with the with the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega very easily here. But I would much rather just see Moxley retain and then continue his story with those guys, or maybe even not continue his story with those guys. It looks like Kenny especially is kind of hung up on this Orange Cassidy thing, so I could see it, again, being maybe the Good Brothers cost him, but I think they maybe try and Kingston helps him. I think that's an even better story to me. So
yeah, I do agree with that. I really feel like I know I said it earlier, but like they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna I could imagine if it was like a younger guy, even if he wasn't over, like if it was like I don't want to say LP, but like I'm trying to think of a guy like Osprey. Osprey's a champion now. Fucking, you know what I mean? That kind of guy, like Shingo. If it was Shingo, I'd be like, yeah, this makes sense for Moxley to lose here because like Shingo's a young, not young, but he's not
younger,
old.
Yeah, not as old as Nagata. Like, and that's what's tough with New Japan, right? Because they have like way older guys, and then like you call them younger guys at that point, but it's still like they're just vastly different. The age gap in New Japan is, despite the talent gap not being that different. Someone like Nagata could still go relatively well in comparison to maybe a 50-year-old that's wrestling in America. But
sure.
I don't anticipate this to be Nagata winning, honestly, especially because if they didn't want to put the belt on Kenta, right? Why would you send Nagata over there to be the one to do it on the AEW soil? Exactly. It would be weird.
And also, I was gonna say, like, as far as 50-year-old wrestlers in America go, Chris Jericho, in my opinion, way outworks Nagata.
Yeah, that's fair, but he's not the only one. But I get what you're saying.
You're right.
And I think that overall, it's an interesting match to have. It's an interesting match to sort of introduce more fans to maybe New Japan without having to, again, beat like a major New Japan talent on TV. So yeah, I mean, all of the booking sense of it to me says that Moxley wins, but there's that opportunity to do like a heel situation costing him the belt. I wouldn't love that, but I wouldn't be mad at it, especially it's not an AEW belt, so I'm really not mad at the situation there. But yeah, I think it's a great card. Like, 3 title matches, a title match implication, and we'll probably get like another match announced or an interview, something involving Hangman or the Dark Order or something. Like, there's still so much more they can add to this. This is the type of show where you say, yeah, you could have 2 shows a week because there's still plenty of talent, not even wrestling on this show. Something they do a great job at. So yeah, this week's Dynamite looks great. I'm excited to see what they have coming. Obviously, they've got some good stuff on Dark and Dynamite. I've actually been so busy, haven't even been able to check out AEW Dark's card for this week, so I will not be doing any Dark Sleeper picks. I imagine AJ has not done it either because I didn't remind him, so no Dark Sleeper picks from us this week. It's just been real busy, finishing up college and then having family in town, parties. It was all fun, but it was hectic. And then Mother's Day the next day, it was like, oh man, we really got to stay on top of stuff. We kept on top of it, but because of that, there's no Dark Sleeper picks tonight. But you should still check out Dark. I will probably give it a check out once I have time because I have the time. I don't work tonight. I don't have school shit to do tonight. I'm finally getting to that point of freeness. I just got to get through this work shift today. But yeah, so that pretty much wraps up everything. AJ, let them know where to find you.
You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at AJTheFitzy.
And you can find me on Twitter at TooSweetElite. You can find me on Instagram at Andrew Kazir. The podcast is on Facebook at Facebook.com/AllElitePod. We're on YouTube at YouTube.com/AllElitePodcast. I also want to mention that last week's Thursday episode totally got busy. Didn't upload it till this morning. So if you do want to hear myself, AJ, Zevo, and Johnny D run through Blood and Guts, that episode is available. I will probably be uploading this episode to podcasting services a little bit late just so people have a chance to check that one out. That's my bad. Like I said, been a little bit busy, but we're still covering it all. And if you want to listen to it, it's there. But we appreciate everybody continuing to check out the pod, supporting the pod, sharing, all that stuff. We get plenty of people tuned in every week, so we do appreciate everybody for that. Catch us on Twitter at All Elite Podcast.